After a fallow week, it's time for the Six Nations to kick back into gear. Of course, we've got Wales versus Ireland and Italy versus France coming up, but most excitingly, it is the Calcutta Cup. Joining myself, Nick and Brendan to preview the game is former Scotland and British and Irish Lions fly half, Craig Chalmers. Huge weekend coming up in the Championship, particularly if you're an England or Scotland supporter. It almost feels like a potentially tournament-defining weekend for the two nations. The Calcutta Cup obviously awaits Saturday's winner, something England have not had their hands on for 5 years now. Been a torrid run against the Scots, but they are taking momentum back to Twickenham off the course of that off the back of that win against France. Wales, Ireland, Italy, France as well. They're probably a bit easier to call. We'll spend the bulk of today on that, the England-Scotland fixture. Joining myself, Brendan and Nick to do so, former Scotland and British and Irish Lions fly half, Craig Chalmers. How are you, Craig?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. Great to be on the show.
Great to have you. Where are you at the moment? Are you up north?
I'm in Edinburgh, yeah. I'm in the flat in Edinburgh, just doing a few bits and bobs, and then I'm heading back down to London tomorrow, late afternoon. Got a few things on Friday and Saturday, so yeah, looking forward to a big weekend.
I presume that's to say you'll be at Twickenham on Saturday afternoon then.
Yeah, I'll be there. I've been there the last couple of months, so I better keep up the attendance so that we can win again. So.
I was going to say, it sounds like you're a good omen then.
Listen. We'll maybe get into it later on, but I didn't win too many times. I didn't win any times at Twickenham. The closest I got was a draw. But to win in the last on 2 occasions, it's sort of got that monkey off the back for this group of players. So I think it gives them massive confidence going into the game to know that they can come down here and get that win.
That's exactly it. They know how to do it now. Look, before we get down that rabbit hole, how are you back to full fitness now?
Yeah, I wouldn't say full fitness, but yeah, I've obviously had prostate cancer. Yeah. About this, I was diagnosed just over a year ago, and it was 29th of March. I got my operation. I got my prostate out. Fantastic surgeon called Declan Cahill, good Irishman. He's the same guy that did Kenny Logan's prostate, removed his prostate. So it was all contained in the prostate, the cancer. So it's got it out, and everything's been great so far. Yeah, it's been no PSA detected for the last 8, 9 months, 10 months, whatever. So got another test coming up soon. So yeah, touch wood, fingers crossed, everything's good. But yeah, listen, it's a really common thing to get. 1 in 8 white guys will get it. 1 in 4 black guys will get it during their lifetime. And I think there's a lot more awareness nowadays. There's a lot more on TV. I'm sure you've seen the adverts and such like, a bit more on TV recently. So, and Sir Chris Hoy has recently been diagnosed with prostate cancer, and I think the hits that they got on the health checker, which you can do the questionnaire online. Prostate UK, and you can basically check and if you've got any symptoms. I didn't have any symptoms, which was a bit of a worry. But when you turn 50, you should get checked anyway. You should get an annual check, and if it's in your family, you should probably get checked a little bit earlier than that, maybe 45, 40 even if it's in your family. So,
Craig, did you go into the doctors just not feeling particularly well, and they did a general screen? Was there any reason why you got checked when you did? And thank God they found.
Brendan, I just got a check when I turned 50. You get your bowel cancer check, you get your poop check, whatever, through the post. You get your little bag. So I did that, and then I went and got checked every year. I just did blood tests, cholesterol, all that, blood pressure. I went into my GP in Ewell in London, and they would give me that every year. My uric acid levels are a little bit high, which is a little bit of gout, which I think I got in the 2017 Lions tour from drinking too much red wine and too much steak in New Zealand. But so I got the phone call back after my blood tests when it was a year and a bit ago. I just thought my uric acid levels would be a bit high, but it was my PSA was a little bit high. And then you go through the process of getting all, but it was just a random. I had no symptoms at all.
Yeah.
And the symptoms are, they are maybe going to the toilet a lot, a weak flow in your wee, maybe struggling to get erections, that kind of stuff. So it's there are symptoms out there, but I never had any of them. But I'm just glad I got checked, because it's us guys don't really talk too much about this kind of stuff. No. But I think we're talking about it more, and I think it's getting much more aware about it. So so it's a good thing. But we're doing loads. We're doing big golf challenges in the summer. Kenny Logan and myself, and 100 calls in a day. And then we've got dinner. We've got a big dinner at Balls Brothers with Under the Post. Tony Andrews. He has a whole lot of events in Balls Brothers, Mincing Lane, on the 11th of July. Hopefully Mike Teague and Rob Henderson and myself doing a Q&A. So we'll be raising money for prostate cancer and raising awareness at the same time. So we'll keep banging the drum.
Good work. Good work.
100 golf holes in a day. What are you hoping to shoot? I suppose
just hoping to get round. To be fair, if I'm playing with Kenny, I might take some earmuffs with me as well.
Just so he doesn't chew your ear off the whole time.
I think I'll need them. But no, listen, I'll be just to try and raise as much money for prostate cancer. Just try and raise the awareness. And I think a few years ago there was a guy who had the cancer, the vans that used to go around and do checking the breast cancer stuff. I think the anaesthetist that looked after me, he did it in the building sites and stuff around about London. And because guys that go work in building sites, guys that do manual labor, they get home at night, they're not going to go to the doctors, they're not going to even get checked. So that kind of random screening, I think hopefully will come into play at some point, but there's a cost behind it as well. So because the more people that find out they've got it, the more people need scans, biopsies, and all that kind of stuff. And it's these things pile up, and it takes time and money for these things to happen. So but if you get it early, it's a good thing. So get checked. Especially if you're over 50.
100%. Well, look, I'm glad that you're sort of on the downhill slope, and I look forward to hearing about your round of golf as well. Is there, if people want to donate to what by the sounds of things is a fundraiser, is there anywhere they can go to do so?
Not at the moment. It will be more in a few months' time. We'll get that set up. We'll get through the Six Nations first.
Okay, yeah. Well, keep us posted on that one, and like I say, glad that you're on the downhill.
Yeah.
Craig, who is, speaking about Saturday now, who's this game more important for?
Oh, jeez. I think it's really important for both teams. I think Scotland, they made a lot of mistakes against Italy in the first game. I was at that game, started quite well, but, got 2 early tries, but we made a lot of mistakes. Not really firing all cylinders. But then, obviously, 2 home games up first. You think you've got to win them. We've not beaten Ireland. We've beaten Ireland, I think, once in about 12 years. So it was always going to be a big task for us to beat them. And they're just so efficient and accurate, the Irish. The beauty about Ireland is most of the team play together week in, week out. And I think we've got a little bit of that with Edinburgh and Glasgow players in the Scotland team. Midfield, and you've got back rows who play together regularly. So I think they know each other pretty well. But our big problem is our physicality. We just lack that couple of big men in the forwards, a big back row, a big 6, or maybe a big lock. We don't really have that man at the moment. Apart from that, I mean, if our backs are fully fit, we can take anybody on. But for me, it was winning those first 2 games was key for us. We lost the second one, so this one becomes really, really important. But obviously, England obviously won their second game against France, which I'm still not sure how they won that game, but they did. And you know what? And that is what it's all about. All they had to do was win that game, and the confidence that they will have got from that. I've been listening to other podcasts this week. I've been reading the press, and Scotland are 3-1 for this game. I think that if you've got a spare, 20 quid, I think it's a good bet. because Scotland have been down here the last 2 occasions and they don't fear coming to Twickenham anymore. This group of players have been there, they've done it, and they've got a couple of T-shirts. So there'll be no fear for our guys coming down. I just hope that they're all fully fit. I think Darcy Graham might make it still, which is amazing after the incident 2 weeks ago, the head clash with Finn. But and Finn should be fine. He should be fine. But listen, like most games of rugby, against England, against teams who are physical up front, it depends how you get on up front. And if we can create a platform for our backline is as good as any in world rugby at the moment when they're getting front foot ball. And I think the kicking game of Finn Russell and the passing game of Finn Russell can really hurt England in the wide channels. I think that's the area that we will be attacking. And England will be aware of that. They know how he plays, but it's very hard to stop if he's on the front foot.
It was very odd the way that the Scotland pack didn't fire against Ireland, because those 2 wins at Twickenham, the two most recent wins, was off the base of Scotland pack taking it to England and winning the forward battle. And you never, England packs never go easily. So you'd think, they've got it in them to go really well against the biggest packs, the strongest packs in the game, but they didn't really show up against Ireland.
No, I think they made a mistake. They tried to hold back some power, like they did Schumann on the bench. I think they should have started him.
Yeah.
I think it's trying to be a bit too clever. Gregor was there by holding him back. I think you've got. I mean, in recent years, we've held Ireland till about half time, 35 minutes, and they've got a couple of tries. They tend to hit you in ones and two, once or twice at a time. They hit quick tries. But we've been very good against them physically on a couple of occasions, and then just in the last this year was poor. I was very disappointed with that game. I thought Ireland were in third gear.
Yeah. I mean, I guess from the Nick, from the English perspective, and maybe from both perspectives, the result of this game, like I sort of said in my intro, is potentially championship defining, because if England win, all of a sudden they're in the discussion for winning the tournament. Obviously they have to remain unbeaten for the rest of it, but a bonus point win against the Scots opens all sorts of possibilities. Same with Scotland is obviously contingent on the French beating Ireland. Then, those are the possibilities. But a loss for either team, all of a sudden you're staring at towards the bottom of the table.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely pivotal for the championship for both of these sides, and they're both very inconsistent. Scotland less so recently, but the bogeyman's come out of the cupboard again against Ireland. I think the one thing that what Craig says about their backline, they do have depth in their backline. There's no question about that. They've had to, and their backline doesn't seem to be severely dented in terms of its ability to strike. Their problems at forward, I wrote and said last week that I couldn't understand why Schumann was on the bench, and those are critical selection errors for me. It's one of the things I don't like about the bench. I think that rugby should be a game about who you start, and those who start, most of them should finish. It's an 80-minute game. It's become a 50-minute game for about 15 people on the pitch, it seems to me. And I don't think it's doing the game as a spectacle much good, because that element of attrition and the space that opens up towards the end of games after mano a mano contests is what always gave rugby a huge interest to fans. The permutations off the bench by what coaches want to do, the fact that it gives them a get out of jail card, possibly if they've got it wrong in the first place, I'm fed up with it. But we've got what we've got at the moment. I don't understand when, and I'm interested because we don't see quite enough of the Scottish district sides, Craig, down here. I don't think. Yeah. Luke Crosby struck me as a back row player who had a lot going for him, and he does have size and a bit of attitude as well. He's a good athlete, clearly. I don't understand why he's not in the mix. I mean, I know he's in the squad, but I don't know whether he's been injured or what.
No, I think it's just not been maybe informed. I'll be honest with you, I don't watch a lot of Edinburgh either because it's on that channel that I don't have. But yeah, Luke Prosser he's a big tall guy. He's a really good line-out option as well. I think line-out was going to be crucial, and I think that's why obviously England have picked Chesham this week. I think when he came on the pitch, he made a massive difference to how the line-out functioned. So it's a massive part of the game. But Luke Crosby would be a good option, and when he's never let Scotland down when he's played. I've got one or two injuries in the second row, with the Richie Gray's out, and so is Scott Cumming. But they're not massive men. They're not Richie's big. Richie's a big old unit, but Cumming's quite a hard guy. He's always a good guy to have in your team, but we're missing him. But our forwards, I think our forwards will have to front up this weekend. A big miss is Tuipulotu is a big miss for us. Nobody can replace him. He's been one of the best inside centres in world rugby over the last year or so, and his performances for Glasgow have carried them at times, into great places. But and I just thought that win that Glasgow had last year, and all the players that play in the Glasgow team in the Scotland, we give them that extra boost, extra confidence for the Six Nations. But with the injury to Tuipulotu and Cummings, I just think maybe it's just wavered a little bit. But we're sort of talking about how important it is. I think this is a huge game. It's always a huge game because it's Scotland England, and it's important for bragging rights. And we've had them for the last 4 years. I mean, 5 in a row. I mean, I'm not sure that's ever been done before. But our players, our backline, like scoring tries against England. Duhan van der Merwe is the highest try scorer in the Six Nations against England ever. And the second is Hugh Jones. He's got 5. And I think Finn likes a try against England as well. So listen, so our guys have got form. They're used to scoring tries against England. So as long as they keep doing it this weekend, I'll be enjoying the beers in the stand.
Finn Russell has obviously got a point to prove. I think, I think Nick Mallet is questioning his Lions playing spot, which maybe seems a little bit radical at this point. However, the question mark I think that surfaced is obviously he was unfortunate against the Irish, but not playing his best against Italy, and the sort of big game, pedigree in Finn, where he sometimes doesn't take a game that needs taken by the scruff of the neck.
Just to correct that, Ollie, I don't think we said that his Lions tour spot was in.
No, not you, Nick.
Test spot, maybe.
Not you, Nick. Nick Mallet.
Yeah,
not the other Nick in world rugby.
Not
Mallet, not Cain.
Right.
There's more than one Nick.
But it's important to play well in Lions year. It is, and Finn's not started the campaign that particularly well. You look at the guys and the other guys. Wales don't really have anybody in the frame, but Ireland have got Crowley. Crowley came on and played well in that first game for Ireland against England. He came on and turned the game. He was man of the match. Player of the match. And then you got Prendergast, who got man of the match against Scotland. And then you got Finn Smith, who got man of the match for England against France last week. So there's 3 young guys there looking to go on a Lions tour. Listen, I was that young guy when it was 1989, and I didn't even really know there was a Lions tour on, to be fair. But you just play as well as you can, and if you play well enough, you get selected. And I think it's quite fascinating who's going to go, because I like Finn Smith. We've not even mentioned Marcus Smith at 10. Well, I haven't, because I do think Finn Smith's a better option for England. I think he controls the game better. I actually saw him play against Munster one time, and he was playing against Crowley and a good Munster team. He went down there, and I thought he played so well under pressure, just managed the game, did the right things at the right time. Not fancy, like bit like Johnny and even Farrell, did the basics really, really well. And the fact is he's Scottish as well. That's the thing that upsets me. We could have had him for the next 10 years when Finn retires. But no, listen, I like him. I think another big game for him this weekend will put him in a good position for that Lions tour. And I like to see young tens coming through, and no matter where they're from, just doing well and playing with confidence. And Prendergast is doing that with Ireland. He looked a bit, he looked unruffled. He's a bit too tall for a fly half, Prendergast, but it's good to see there's so many options. And Finn's got to have a big game, and that's a big incentive for Finn this weekend to make sure that he has a good game. But listen, when you play at fly half, the reason you have a good game is the guys in front of you, what kind of ball you're getting, when you're getting it, how you're getting it. So, you rely, it's a team game, rugby. You rely an awful lot on the guys around you and what they're doing to make you look good.
Is Finn adjusting his game plan now that Marcus Smith is at fullback? In that, obviously, Scotland, like France, tend to kick long rather than kick high.
Well, I thought France last week, they missed a trick last week when Marcus was back there. France, it's weird. People had a lot of people talking about it this week, but they just seemed to be just playing jouet. It was like the weather wasn't great, and they were just throwing the ball all over the shop, and they made a lot of mistakes. But a lot of these mistakes they made, they should never have made. There's a lot of balls there that should have been caught by the quality of those players that were trying to catch them. But they missed a trick. I don't think Finn will miss a trick. Finn's kicking game is probably, short kicking game is the best in the world, and his passing game, is excellent as well. But as I said before, that is much, much easier when you're on the front foot. If you're on the back foot, you're static. It's a little bit harder. So Scotland will be looking for that momentum, getting that go forward, and then kicking at the right time in the right places. And he is a master of that. And I think you've seen that with Bath. Since he's went to Bath, you've seen a different player in Ollie Lawrence. He actually released him. He's actually in outside channels. Rather than coming back inside all the time, he's actually attacking the outside. He's actually making him a better player by having him inside him and feeding balls at the right time, right place, in the right places. So listen, I think with Marcus at fullback, I think Scotland will look to target him definitely.
Yeah, you sound a bit pessimistic just because Scotland don't seem to have that cloud up front. But when you look at guy like Gilchrist and Johnny Gray, they've both got a mountain of caps. I mean, they've been around, and Gilchrist at his best, which he certainly wasn't against Ireland, can be quite formidable. Johnny Gray used to be, but seems to have gone off quite a lot since he went to France.
Yeah, Johnny's a bit of I coached Johnny in the 20s. He's not as skillful as his brother. His brother's got more about him. He's got more skills. He's got more ability, I would say. But Johnny's work rate is massive. His tackles, the stuff that he does, the hidden stuff that he does, is fantastic. But he goes to deck far too easy for me for a big guy. Doesn't make the most of what he's got when he's carrying balls. So I just want to see us to be a bit more aggressive up front, a bit more bite about us, and we'll need that this weekend, because if we don't have that, I think the English boys will take advantage of it. And the English guys have got a lot of confidence out of last weekend. No matter if they didn't play particularly well, they will be better this week. That's for sure. But so will we be better this week.
Who is charged with revving Scotland up front, Craig? Who's the man who gets inside those heads and gets them functioning? Because Xander Ferguson's got a lot on the line. He's at the moment most people's lines starting tight head. So there are guys who've got a hell of a lot on the line in this game.
I know. I don't know. The guy that's the toughest in there to me, when I look at them, is probably Jack Dempsey, our Aussie friend. So he's quite an aggressive, abrasive kind of guy. I don't know. I think we're quite nice. We're a bit too nice in the forwards. Like Xander's a big lump, but I've never seen him get angry. Not that you can get really angry nowadays in international rugby and throw your weight about and give penalties away. You can't do that these days. But there's not the don't think we've got like we need a bit of nastiness about us that we don't have. Schumann, for me, another guy, he looks like he could be nasty. He looks quite nasty, but I'm not sure he is. You know, but when he carries the ball, he gets a bit. He takes you forward. You know, he gives you momentum. We don't have enough of that. But no, I'm not sure who. I mean, hopefully my old mate John DL, the Forest coach, is getting them fired up. But you know, at the end of the day, the players, once on the pitch, they've got to do that themselves. They've got the responsibility to fire themselves up, not just as individuals, but as units as well. And you know, they've got to take it to England collectively as well as individually on Saturday.
Yeah, we mentioned Marcus Smith. I suppose this is a question to the floor, but Craig, as an ex-10 yourself, maybe particularly you, is it a bit rough being Marcus Smith at the moment? He's obviously gone very public that he wants to be England's 10, not just in the starting back line, 10. He's been moved to fullback. There was an article in the Telegraph the other day calling for him to learn the trade to play scrum half. Obviously, people are saying give Finn Smith the keys to the kingdom. I obviously think him learning to play scrum half is an absolute farce, but Craig, as Marcus Smith, it's not easy to have, you know, all these conversations sort of had around you, especially when he was England's bright spark in 2024. He was a lot of people's best player in the autumn for England. He could have made a case for him being in the World 15 for the entirety of the year. And now here he goes into a utility back that most people are now seeing as potentially, you know, most useful on the bench.
Yeah, no, listen, I think he's a talent. He's a talented rugby player, but can he control a game at international level? I think you watch him at club level at Harlequins, he does a lot of nice stuff. And what he's probably missing at Quins a little bit this year is Esterhazy on his shoulder, just to take a bit of pressure off him, just to feed the ball onto him and take it and just give you that relief. You have time to look about and tee up the next move or tee up where you're going next kick. But yeah, I feel a bit sorry for him. But a lot of that good rugby that he played in the autumn, a lot of the good stuff was when he went to full back. I felt, I just don't think he's quite an individual player in many ways. A lot of it's instinctive, so a lot of people not necessarily around about him and knowing what he's doing. So I think Finn Smith gives you far more stability and understanding of what's going to be going on around about and where the ball's going next. And you're releasing guys at the right time. So and I think the connections with the halfback with Alex Mitchell obviously is a good thing, and obviously the Freeman link in the wing as well. The Freeman, you know, the kicking, the short kicking game as well. So I think it's got massive advantages. But Marcus is a talent. He's a talented player, and a lot is expected of him. He beats men for fun. He does miraculous things, but can he control a game at the top level in international rugby?
Craig, how often did you get switched to fullback?
Never.
Or scrum half.
You know, but the thing that's the thing for me, and England do it all the time. I mean, he's a very talented player, no question about it. He's hardly played fullback.
No,
you know, we're saying come in and play this game, strike from deep, and so on and so forth. I mean, you said that you felt that the French missed a trick by not putting the ball up on him, good ball up on him more. And presumably Finn Russell will have that in his pocketbook.
Yeah, the forecast is good for the weekend, so that for that time of day. So hopefully it stays fair and we get a good game. But yeah, I do think that Finn will put pressure on him. He'll run him about, he'll move him about, and not just with the kicking game, but I think we'll actually try and hit the wide channels with the passing game as well, and get the likes of Darcy Graham and Big Doohan on the ball, because he loves playing against England, obviously. So, but no, I feel for Marcus, because I mean, even the Netflix things come out recently as well, and he's quite on that quite a bit. And I don't like the Netflix thing that much. I think it's all a bit about, you know, money, cars, all this kind of nonsense.
Yeah, it's too forced.
You know, you look, the best Netflix or the best documentary was The Living of the Lions, and it was all about the rugby and about what happened in the changing rooms and the physio rooms and you know, all that kind of stuff. The real stuff and what people are really like. I don't know. I'm not really interested in what kind of car Finn's got or whatever.
It's all a bit rich, lives of the rich and famous and choreographed and so on.
No, I think it is. And, I think people would much rather see a bit more rugby, a bit more, maybe a bit more dressing room stuff and a bit more honesty. It's a bit structured and a little bit fake, if you ask me.
Craig, it's a huge lesson to anybody making rugby documentaries these days, that people don't want to see media trained choreographed stuff. As you say, the Living with the Lions in 2017 in 97 was an absolute breakthrough, because it was warts and all, and it was honest, and it gave people a real insight into what was going on. Now they're so scared of of showing it as it is, it seems to me. And you wonder,
the honesty's gone out of it, and I think that, and I don't think the players. I'm not sure it's the players that are doing this. I think the players would be happy to. I think a lot of them would be happy to say it how they see it, but and it would be edited anyway. But no, I think it needs to be more natural. It's not natural at the moment. It's very structured and very, and I lost interest after the first 2 or 3. So
I should say, going back to the Marcus Smith, and he is obviously front and center of particularly that first episode in season 2. And he talks about, his love of playing fly half, which is almost dramatic irony now, given what's happened in these 2 fixtures. I fully agree with England's backline selection for Saturday, but it was sort of what I was getting at is the discussion around him potentially learning the scrum half trade as well.
Is part of that, Ollie? I haven't read the article, but presumably the move to 6-2 benches and some 7-1 benches means that the back on the bench now, the thinking is, has to be almost a bit of a superstar in many ways, who can play 3 positions.
Yeah, that's and you look at what. Sorry, go on. I
was going to say, it dictates the game again.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you're back to your point about the bench having too much influence on the game.
I mean, the feeling is if Marcus Smith is a starter, be it at 10 or 15, and can cover 9, obviously you have your 9. Alex Mitchell played 80 minutes against France last weekend. I think we're all glad he did. He played very, very well. But if your 9, for whatever reason, doesn't play 80 minutes, you don't have to use that bench spot, I think, is the feeling, which in some ways makes sense. Egg Chase has made a very good point about this and said that obviously the French have done it for years with your Yashvilis, your Morgan Parras, even obviously Galtier did it. But these guys grew up playing 9 in school.
Yeah. I'm surprised England have gone for a 6-2. I mean, I think we saw how it went all horribly wrong for us last week. We lost 2 players early on. England are obviously looking at 6 forwards on the bench and looking to overpower us later on in the game as well. But I think Scotland will go. I don't think they'll go 6-2 this week. I think they'll go 5-3.
I mean, it's Ravi Erasmus dictating the course of the game, and everybody lemming-like just follows what South Africa do, without having South Africa's quality on the bench in terms and versatility on the bench in terms of forwards. It's nuts.
It is nuts. And then 1 or 2 injuries that we saw last weekend can stuff you, and it can affect the whole game pattern and how you play. So yeah, I think it's a massive risk. But I think South Africa went 7-1 in the World Cup against us.
I think France are rumoured to be going 7-1 this weekend against Italy.
They should be careful.
Yeah, they should. They should.
They should be careful. Guys. Full stop. I mean, it's in Rome, and
that'll be tough. That'll be a tough game for them in Rome. I think they'll get a. I'll be closer than maybe 1 or 2 are predicted.
Speaking of predictions, let's go over what we've got for the Calcutta Cup. Craig, I mentioned that ours was similar. Weirdly, you and I have predicted not just the same result, exactly the same scoreline.
So you're a Scottish winner, are you?
I've got a Scottish win, 27-25, and I think you've gone for exactly the same.
28, I've got 28-25. I've got, yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I might have to adjust that then. I think I had 27 down, but very, very close regardless. Brendan, you've got a 9-point win margin for England, which actually I think you're probably feeling quite good about right now.
We did it so long ago, I can't remember my rationale, but off the back of that win last time out, you would think England might put something together. But as discussed last week, this is the acid test, because they should have put something together at the end of last season after the Ireland win, and it all fell away a little bit. But yeah, okay, I'm quite happy with that. I think, England are well capable of a decent win if they put the performance together.
Yeah, you certainly back them more than you would have this time last year. When they were heading up to Murrayfield. I think you're absolutely right in that this has the potential, if England win this game and win it well, results then against Italy and Wales, which aren't a foregone conclusion, of course, but England go into both of those games as pretty clear favourites.
This is a big opportunity for England to really get a little bit of takeoff.
Yeah, whereas if they lose,
it's back down to the old.
It's almost back to square one, really.
Same old.
We keep saying that game against France could well be an anomaly because we have no idea how we won it. So no, I think, Nick, to use your words, it's a proper litmus test. We've got Chewy, who's also gone England. He's gone England by 7, and then Rich has also gone England. So 4 out of 6 of us have gone England. Craig, I'm wearing the dark blue along with yourself.
Good man.
Only for the predictions league, though, not as a fan on Saturday. Guys, let's talk about the other fixtures as well. All of us are backing Ireland to win. Matt Sherratt has wielded the axe. Gareth Anscombe has come in. Max Llewellyn has come in. Brendan, are we assuming that this is to come in straight to start?
I would have thought so. That's the reason for bringing them into the squad is to play them, I think. I don't think it's to have them on the bench. In many ways, he's got a free hand now, hasn't he? If a Wales coach can ever have a honeymoon period, he's got the rest of the season. He's got 3 matches. No expectation whatsoever. Give it a go. Those guys should have been in the squad anyway and should probably have been in the team. So they're pretty sound selections in my mind. And Ben Thomas, I think, will go to 12, which is a better position for him anyway. Listen, I don't think they're going to win. But I can't remember what I predicted a month ago. I don't think they're going to win, but they could go a bit better. I hope they go much better. And I hope the crowd, I'm getting fed up with the Cardiff crowd being on fate, on the lash, not really bothered about the match. This is Ireland. Wales needs 60,000. There'll be 15,000 Irish there. They need 60,000 Welsh people absolutely dialed into this match, cheering everything that Wales do, cheering everything that Ireland do, actually becoming a factor. Because the Welsh crowd doesn't seem to be a factor like it ought to be. And, it really should be in their favour. So I hope that the nation gets behind them properly.
Yeah. I mean, Craig, those first 20 minutes under obviously new albeit temporary management with presumably rumoured 8 changes, in and around that many anyway. They're huge against probably the best front runners in world rugby.
Yeah, I think Ireland are going to make changes as well. I think Ireland will make changes for this game. There's a few injuries, a few doubts, so they'll make 1 or 2 changes. I think, I think Warren Gatland did a great job for Wales for many, many years, and coming back to maybe been a bit of a mistake. But listen, he came back and he's been the best coach, and he's now been the worst coach in Welsh history. But I think a new coach coming in is a good thing for Wales. And some of these players that have been left out was a massive surprise for me as well, especially Llewellyn and Anscombe, the experience of Anscombe. And playing at 12 at 10, the other week was a massive mistake. Thomas is a centre, isn't he? He's a centre at Cardiff. So I think Matt Sherratt, seems to have a good relationship with the players. There's been a lot of positivity around it. So yes, you want to see Wales strong again. But they've got a young couple of players at the moment, and if they can get a good start this weekend, I can't see them winning the game, but I can see them putting up a good fight. Ireland will have too much for them. It's got too much experience, too much power all over the park. But I think it's all about performance for Wales this week, and they will target. If things didn't go well for Scotland this weekend at Twickenham, they'll target 2 weeks' time at Murrayfield because. Scotland's confidence, where will it be if we don't win? Hopefully we will, but If we don't, then I think they've got, as you say, Sherritt's got a free hit at this for this next 3 games, and he can do whatever he wants. And I think you'll see a big upturn in performance.
What would Wales rather from here? I suppose, what's a success? Obviously, they've got the 3 Triple Crown fixtures their end to come. I don't think anyone's backing them for a win this weekend. Brendan, you said you don't remember what you put. You did not back Wales to beat Ireland, so don't worry about that too much. Obviously, against Scotland, and particularly that England game at the Principality Stadium, depending on what's on the line, anything could happen. But is 1 win out of those 3 the only thing that would represent a success here from Wales, or is a potential rebrand, chucking the ball about a little bit more, playing with a little bit more freedom and a little bit more uninhibited, would that represent a step forward in any case?
I think we're in the territory where 3 much improved performances with some really good rugby in, even 3 defeats, but 3 much improved performances would be a step forward. I mean, yes, of course they could win one of the matches, although you're struggling to think really where, but they have to improve 50%.
Yeah. Nick, do you agree with that?
Well, I think we've seen, we've seen very big turnarounds from teams when there have been changes of this sort in the past. It does look a long shot for Wales to produce one of those, but at the 2023 World Cup, they punched a reasonable weight to get to a quarterfinal. So I'm not sure that the locker's entirely empty. They've got a player like Dan Edwards coming through, who a lot of people in Wales rave about being, the other Welsh fly half. Anscombe's there at the moment. Obviously, his injury run has been pretty checkered of recent years, but it seems to be a sound move at the moment to get that Gloucester, the Welsh contingent in that Gloucester backline into the team to try to give some cohesion. I think Warren Gatland has been talking about the fact that he had no support basically. But one of the things that I would say to coaches, and I'm a big supporter of Warren and what he's achieved, particularly with Wales, but also with the Lions. But I'm not sure that he gave really the clarity that he needed to give about the selections that he was making. And the Thomas selection at fly half is a classic in that. So I guess Sherritt has done everything that people in Wales were crying out that Warren should do. So we'll see what happens. But wouldn't write them off completely. My only concern is a little bit like Craig's reservations about the Scottish. That's where the rebuild. Everybody in Wales wants to talk about backs, but where the rebuild really needs to start for them is up front.
None of us have obviously got a Wales win. I'm just sort of going through and seeing who has the tightest margin, and it's actually Chris who's got an 11-point margin, which I think Wales would probably take at this point. Craig, you've got a 17-point difference, so are you expecting potentially Wales to sort of offer resistance and then Ireland to run away with it late?
Yeah, I think a bit of resistance at the start, I think, and maybe 1 try from Wales, a couple of penalties, maybe a conversion, maybe 13. I think I went 13-30. I think Ireland will get a bonus point. So I think you're looking at about 30 points, 28, 30 points, 32 points for Ireland. So yeah, I think they'll do enough. I think it's, Ireland have just got too much strength and depth. I mean, they're talking about making about 6-7 changes, I think, and the team looks really, really strong on paper. Yeah. Furlong could be back this weekend as well, I think. So, listen, they've got depth. And maybe even, is it Osborne maybe playing fullback instead of fullback? Instead of Keenan. So, so they've got depth, and they'll play Crowley at fly half this week, I think, as well. Give him
interesting.
Yeah, I think they will. Yeah. Listen, I think it's quite fair if he does. He played well when he came on against England, so
you warrant that.
Give him a shot. But
it depends whether they're seeing Prendergast as the man in possession or whether they're still sort of seeing it as audition phase. I suppose if it is Prendergast, you want to give him as many starts as you can at the big time, given his age.
No, I agree. I totally agree. But I think he put his hand up in that English game when he came on and sort of deserves an opportunity. So, he's been there for a bit longer. So, listen, I mean, I think Andy Farrell's still probably pulling one or two strings from outside the camp, with the Lions tour coming up. So there's going to be a lot of Irishmen on that Lions tour for sure. But, Crowley, I like Crowley as a player as well. I think he's very much like Finn Smith, very similar.
Yeah. I think that Joe McCarthy's returning to full fitness, Mac Hansen potentially as well. So they've got
Keller's out.
Gallagher's out.
Sheehan will start. I mean, he's probably a line starter anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Doris is out, but they'll bring in Jack Conan, who has been phenomenal.
Exactly. Yeah. They've got some good there. They've got some good there.
They really do. Guys, very finally, Sunday's game. Like I say, Galtier may well wield a 7-1 bench split. Either way, rumours are that he's going to wield the axe. Jalibert will drop out the squad completely, is what I've read. Ramos in at 10, Barré at fullback, and potentially Damien Penaud dropped as well. I raise an eyebrow to. I mean, clearly Galtier's got something against Bordeaux-Bègles.
There's a problem with Bordeaux. They didn't want to play for them in the autumn. I think there was an issue. My son played with Jalibert at the academy in Bordeaux years ago, and they still keep in contact. But there was definitely an issue with Bordeaux in France, and I think Jalibert is a great player. And I think Penaud. I played against his dad, Alain Penaud. If they don't pick those two, then is Ntamak back? Is he? Is Emile?
Well, he's got one more.
He's still banned, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Ramos at 10 is what I'm reading, and obviously take this with a pinch of salt, as I am. But Penaud being dropped would be a big shock. I mean, a try and an assist. I know he dropped quite a lot of pill and missed 5 of his 7 tackles or something against England, but even so,
I might have to change my prediction now.
I mean, at the moment, you've got the biggest margin of all of us. You got I think France 40 points, Wales 20. Italy 20 or something like that.
The point will get 5 tries.
I think the problem with Jalibert is that while he can be a magician in attacking terms, he's an open door in defence. And when you've got 2 centres like Menoncello and Brecht, that may be one open door too many.
Yeah, but I'd like to see Italy play more. Italy being a bit reserved, I think, this season so far. I think they're not. I think they've got more in them. They've got far more in them. We've seen that the last year or two. Autumn. They weren't that great in the autumn, but last year's Six Nations, they played some really good stuff. Menoncello and Brecht in the centre were devastating, and they fully deserved to beat us in Italy, in Rome last year. I've put my prediction in, but thinking about it now, I think if they can get in the French, if they can stay with them for 50, 60 minutes, they'll get in their head. They could get in their heads, They did it last year to a certain extent and probably should have won.
And obviously, our argument after the autumn was that France are back, and that inconsistency that's plagued them for really the last decade is sort of in the rearview mirror. I think that has been almost extinguished by the French performance a couple of weeks ago. So we don't know what France are going to turn up in Rome.
But I think we do know they're going to be on a bit of a mission, though. I mean, Gautier is not going to be happy with what happened at Twickenham. Dupont's not going to be happy with what happened at Twickenham. I'd be expecting a much better France. I think we might get Italy's best performance, like Craig. They haven't actually quite put it together this season. Certainly the backs. I was doing a little bit of a comparison for my column. The 2013, the last time they beat Italy, I would say is the only Italian team that really ranks with this current squad. I think this current squad has got more strength and depth. But that team in 2013, I reckon only 2 of the current Italy forwards would get in that team. The front row of Castro, Giraldini, Lo Cicero, Frachetti might get in, but you're not gonna shift that lot. And the big South African guy, Quentin Gelderhuizen, he was a big unit. I'm not sure that Rutzer would get in alongside him. He's a great line-out man. So I think Italy at the moment are probably 5% off up front, and they're not quite getting the ball that they need, because that is definitely the best back division they've ever had. Even if Garbisi, I don't think he's quite on it at the moment. So it's up front. They've got to address Italy. They've got the players. They've got the strength in depth, but they haven't got that top end yet. They're
missing Ione as well this weekend, I think. As well.
Is he? Oh, right. I didn't realise he was out. Right, he's a big loss. Yeah, he's a really
they're missing Ione, and I like Garbisi though. I think Garbisi is a very good player. I like the way he plays.
And where would you play?
The result last season?
And you got a good Scotsman at fullback. So.
Hang on.
Tam Allen at fullback.
What was the result last season? It was a draw, wasn't it?
It was 30-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, the ball fell off the tee.
Ball fell off the tee and hit the post.
Yeah, that was bloody painful. Look, we're still unanimous on that one. We are backing the French to get it done. I think, I back quite a big scoreline personally, but I'm now feeling slightly ambivalent about that. Guys, shall we hear about the Predictions League and where everyone sits?
No, we don't.
I'm legally required to do so. Chris and Brendan are currently on 28 points. Nick, you're slap bang in the middle on 31. Rich is on 33. And then I'm on 35 alongside you, Craig. So you're on a team with Jerry Guscott and Brett Igo so far. And then obviously your predictions all correspond. I won't bother explaining the scoring system because the other two have a go at me every time I do.
Yeah, I think we'd like to hear all about it, Ollie. You've suddenly shot up the rankings.
We need a 30-minute special to do this scoring system. Now you always win.
Just me. I'll provide every single written document of every single result we've ever done, happily. And I have only won it the once. Nick, you won it in the first year, remember? Brendan, you have a right to complain because I think you've come close to that.
What's the prize?
You get to come on the podcast again.
Okay, Wales 50, Ireland.
You score 1,000 points if you get that one right. You win for the next 3 years in a row.
Oh dear. Craig, enjoy Twickenham. I'm sure it'll be a great day out as it always is. Just hopefully Duhan van der Merwe stays quiet this time.
No, hopefully not a hat trick. Hopefully, but we'll see. It'll be different from the last time. They always are. So listen, I'm sure it'll be a good day, and it'll be good fun.
It'll be a hell of a test match. And Craig, thank you so much for joining us. So great to have you, and look forward to connecting again soon.
Pleasure, guys. Pleasure. Good to see you, Ben.
Thanks for listening to this week's edition of the Rugby Paper Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe on whichever podcast platform you use and recommend the show to your friends. The Rugby Paper is available to buy every Sunday, and to make sure you don't miss it, subscribe through our print, digital and online options at therugbypaper.co.uk/subscriptions. That's therugbypaper.co.uk/subscriptions to get all our content for as little as 14p per day.